Hey guys, in this video I wanted to update you with my experiences with the Ender 2. I've been using it quite extensively since the last video, so one of the first things you'll notice is that there's a new power supply. After about a week, the stock power supply started making like this clicking sound, and basically the 3D printer wasn't turning on. And after googling it, actually there's a lot of people who have the same kind of problem with it, so I basically just replaced it with a PC power supply that I had kicking around. So this is a 180 watt power supply, I think, and it came off of an old Dell computer that I wasn't using. So basically what I did was I spliced a XT60 connector on the back here, and this way I can easily detach the power supply from the Ender 2 whenever I need to move it. So beside the power supply, you will also see my Raspberry Pi 3, and I'm running Octoprint with that. So basically this acts as the computer, and then I can remotely control the Ender 2 anywhere I have network access. And here's an LED light that I added. Basically it's powered off of the power supply as well using the 5-volt rails. And another thing I did here was an extension tube. So the stock filament holder wasn't long enough for some of my spools, so I just basically added this thing here that would extend it by about an inch, and that was able to accommodate pretty much all the spools that I owned. This one is a little bit thinner, so it didn't really matter. And down here I have this extruder filament knob, and I printed this because sometimes I want to be able to manually retract or extrude some of the filament into the tube. And over here I 3D printed some belt tensioners for the X and Y axes. I ended up reprinting them using PETG filament because it's more durable. And the ones you see in this video right here are still the ABS ones, which kind of crack. So this really helps in terms of tensioning the belts to make sure that they're nice and tight. So I did that for the X and Y axis as well. Since there's a little bit of a gap in here, I also 3D printed this tool tray. And what else? There's some knobs here that I 3D printed to help me level the bed easier. Basically the default knobs are kind of small, and these ones making them a lot bigger. So I 3D printed that as well. And of course I also added a glass sheet on top here. And the last video I just used a sheet of glass from a picture frame, but I have since replaced it with a sheet of borosilicate glass that I got off of AliExpress. This piece of glass is also slightly thicker, and it has rounded edges, so you can't really cut yourself with it. Another thing that I 3D printed was this fan shroud, which is basically it ducts the air to cool the parts. Since I don't really print with PLA and I mostly print with ABS and PETG, the shroud didn't really do anything for me. In fact, it caused the ABS layers to separate and crack, so I ended up taking it off. Everything I've printed so far was perfect. Here's an example. This is a gear bearing that I was able to print successfully. The print requires a 3D printer that has really tight tolerances, and I printed this with an ABS on a raft, and all the gears turned out like it should. If I had done this on my older DaVinci 3D printer, it would have been a solid block. This just shows you how accurate the Ender 2 can print at. Another thing that I tried with the Ender 2 is PETG filament. PET is a polyethylene that is used in water bottles, and it doesn't have any toxic fumes when melted, so it's a lot safer than ABS. And most of the things I print are functional parts, and I needed a filament that would be more durable, and ABS was always the choice in that situation. I recently got some AMZ 3D PETG filament, and having done a number of prints already with it, I'll probably never go back to ABS. It's a much more forgiving filament in that it is almost the same, it has almost the same qualities as ABS and PLA, but it's not as brittle as PLA and doesn't shrink like ABS. So here's the very first print that I did with PETG, and it's one of those articulating fish fossils. You essentially print this all at once, and then once you remove it from the raft, it should start moving. You don't have to connect anything, so it's very important to have a printer that's dialed in, and since the Ender 2 is very accurate at printing, it's not a problem at all printing this item. Anyways, that's it for this video. I just wanted to update you with some of my experiences with the Creality Ender 2. For about $200, it's actually a very good printer considering how accurate it can print, and you can use different types of filaments from PLA to ABS and my new favorite PETG. Comment, like, share, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.